Most football players get it wrong when they try and do 5k runs to improve their match fitness. Yes, a 5k run will improve your overall fitness, but it won't get you fitter on the pitch when playing football. In this video, I'm going to go through the 3 different kinds of endurance and fitness you need to improve and train to see your energy levels and performance improve on the football pitch. Hi, I'm Tom. I'm a strength and conditioning coach specifically for football players, and I help them to improve their speed, agility, strength and stamina so that they're quicker, faster, stronger and have more energy on the pitch to improve their performance and take the game to the next level. So I had a young client of mine, or a young player that I coach, who said that his football team coach had told him and his players to get a few 5k runs in during the week. And yes, as I said earlier, a 5k run will improve your overall endurance, okay, and your overall aerobic fitness. But football is a game that is made up of short sprints, turns, jumps, high intensity runs, okay, that are split up over the full 90 minutes of a match, okay. So a steady state run isn't very specific to how you play football. But the different training and the different kind of fitness that I'm going to explain in this video is going to help you to target the important ones that actually benefit you and improve your performance when you're playing football. Because that's one of the hardest things in football, is that there's many different components, okay? You're doing long sprints, short sprints, you're doing turns, acceleration, deceleration, you're jumping, you need power, you need strength, you need speed, you need endurance. And a lot of these things are very hard to train all in one training session, let alone one exercise, okay? There is no real one best exercise for football. And another thing as well is that your endurance isn't just a case of developing one thing and everything will get better. You need layers built on top of each other that require the layers before to be at a certain level before you can really see the benefits from others going forwards, okay? So in this video, I'm just going to break down the 3 main areas and components of your endurance and fitness that can help you have more energy on the pitch and perform better. So the first one I'm going to go through is your aerobic endurance, or your aerobic capacity and conditioning. But when it comes to your overall performance, just before I get into the aerobic endurance, is that the way your body works, okay, just so that we've got some insight, is that when you do any kind of activity, your body is generating energy for the body to use in the form of ATP, and oxygen is actually used to resynthesize that energy and produce more energy for the body and deal with the waste product build-up. Now, at a certain level, your body needs so much oxygen that it can breathe it in, get it through the lungs, in through the blood, into the rest of the body that needs it, okay? It can get enough oxygen in to maintain that. And any type of fitness or any type of work, okay, we'll just go for running because it's very specific to football, okay? If you're running so fast or so far, but you're within that oxygen threshold, you can maintain that performance consistently as long as you're able to resynthesize and get the energy to the body. As soon as you run out of energy and you run out of oxygen, that's when you start to slow down, okay? So as a football player, we are trying to improve how hard we can work while we're still using oxygen, but also how hard can we go before we need to slow down and recover what we call that oxygen debt, okay? So when you get to that point where you can't use it, you can't keep up with the amount of oxygen you're getting in, you start to build up the oxygen debt, and at a certain point you'll slow down until you recover that oxygen debt. That is that heavy feeling in the legs, that burn, okay, that lack of energy, okay, when you just feel tired. That is that lack of oxygen and lack of energy in the body. So the first one, your aerobic endurance, is very key in being able to increase not necessarily just how hard or how well you can perform using oxygen, but how quickly you can recover between those high intensity bursts, and how you can recover after building up that oxygen debt. Because realistically, when you sprint, you turn, okay, like you do in football, you're going to build that oxygen debt. By improving your aerobic endurance, you're going to firstly improve how hard you can work while still using oxygen. Because if you can improve how hard you're working with oxygen, you're not going to build up an oxygen debt, you're not going to get as tired, so you can maintain performance longer. And you know, football's played over 90 minutes. no matter how many sprints you do, you still have to have the overall endurance to last 90 minutes. And that comes with a combination of everything else I'm going to talk in the video. But another key point to that is that you need to be able to recover in between those bouts, because that is going to happen no matter what position you're in. So improving your aerobic endurance is going to help you to replenish that oxygen, re-synthesize the energy you need so that you've got more energy to go again. So it helps you recover quicker in between. And a exercise or a workout that I like to do using the pitch, is doing 2 full laps of a pitch in 3 minutes, and then resting 60 to 90 seconds, and then repeating again, anywhere between 3 up to 10 times, depending on how fit you are. And there are loads of different ways you can improve. But the reason I'm telling you about this specific workout is because most players don't have access to the world-class facilities that the players they aspire to be have. It's just, a fact of life. But also, there's a lot of guys out on social media that are showing you these drills and these exercises that you can do that, again, don't have access to the facilities. The workout that I mentioned there, uses the pitch. So anyone's got access to an 11-side pitch, which anywhere in the UK or Europe you're going to have access to. You can turn up and you can do the workout. You need no cones, no markers, no measuring, no kit needed. You can turn up, do your skill work, do your speed work, and at the end of the session, add in this endurance workout so that you can get fitter, improve your performance, and take your game to the next level, It's so accessible that anyone can do it. And if you want that exercise, plus the other ones I'm going to go through in this video today, there's a link in the description to what I call the Match Fit Starter Pack. And it's exactly what I just said. It is 3 exercises, all using the perimeter of the pitch or the layout of the pitch. So you don't need to do any measuring, you don't need any cones, don't need any kit. You turn up, get it done, get fitter, and get better. So if you want that, it's in the link in the description, and use it for yourself to improve your fitness and performance. So they have aerobic endurance. The next one we're going to go over is your speed endurance. Now, yes, I said that you need the energy to last the entire match, and a full game of football, but you also need the energy to be able to maintain your speed, your power, the quickness, the explosiveness in each individual sprint. And that's where your speed endurance comes in. Now, speed endurance, is going to be used less on the pitch, just to be totally honest. There are certain positions, like your fullbacks, your wingers, or maybe, your more rolling forwards, people like Haaland that do counter-attacking football and get on the end of the balls. But in football, most of your sprints and your runs are going to be anywhere between 10 to 20 meters. Relatively, in a wider range of sport, it's not that far, but it's very high intensity. Speed endurance is kind of going that further distance. We're talking like 40, 50, 60 meters. If you think about a counter attack, as an attacker, you have to have the ability to maintain that sprint to get past the defender, and not only get past him, you get past him with the ball and maintain the composure to then either pass or score to win it for your team. And if you don't have the speed endurance, you're going to slow down and that defender's going to catch you and you're going to lose that opportunity. Or in the reverse position, as a defender, you need the speed endurance to catch the attackers, get back in position and stop them from scoring against you. That's why it's important that you have speed endurance. But the key to developing speed endurance is focusing on the speed over longer distances. This isn't interval work in the sense where you're going to have those gut-wrenching runs and you're going to feel like your leg's going to fall off, from the first seconds. Speed endurance is about doing longer runs, or longer sprints, anywhere between 50 to almost 100 meters, like a full length of the pitch, but then recovering enough so that you can maintain the speed. This isn't about sort of the overall endurance, it's about each individual sprint being able to maintain that speed. And the only way you can do that is taking enough time to rest in between. Realistically, if you're sprinting for anywhere between sort of 10 to 20 seconds, you want to be able to recover for at least, say, 2 to 3 minutes. It seems like a long time, but what happens, as I said earlier, the longer you run, the more tired you get, the slower you get. And as soon as you drop down a certain amount of speed, you're no longer doing speed endurance, you're just doing general conditioning. And because you're not doing a specific amount of conditioning, you're not going to see the best amount of benefit compared to if you're doing specific conditioning. So, one of the exercises I like to do, and this is again part of that Match Fit starter pack, is doing half pitch sprints. So you start on the goal line and you sprint as fast as you can to the halfway line. Once you get to the halfway line, you can either walk back or walk to the next goal line, turn around and then do another sprint to the halfway line and then walk back, making the most of that recovery. You want to do 2 to 3 sprints, then maybe have a little bit longer rest, maybe anything up to 5 minutes to overall recover. Okay, get a drink in, okay, maybe an energy gel, whatever you're using in training, and then go again 2 to 3 times. And again, the fitter you are, the further the sprint can be, or the more reps you do, or the more sets you do. Okay. But again, the key thing to speed endurance is making sure that you focus on the speed endurance, not just the overall endurance together. And the last part I'm going to go over on the video is your repeated sprint ability. Okay. Football is made up of lots of sprints, back and forwards, change of direction. Okay. It's very game specific. You have to be able to do that again and again and again over 90 minutes. And when you combine repeated sprint ability with your speed endurance and your aerobic endurance, it completes the picture for your match fitness. Now, your repeated sprint ability is going to be doing, your shuttles, your suicides, all those kind of runs. So whether you've got 10, 15, 20, maybe 25 meter cones, you run out to the 10, back, 15, back, 20, back at full speed. Another great one about repeated sprint ability is that you can add in a little bit of aerobic endurance with some active recovery. Now, part of your repeated sprint ability is maintaining more sprints or maintain your performance over more and more sprints without going too far into longer endurance. Also, how quickly can you recover in between those sprints? That's where you need that aerobic endurance. Remember I said at the start, you need layers built on top of each other. If you're doing repeated sprint ability without at least a basic level and foundation level of aerobic endurance, you're going to burn out too quick. Okay, you get too tired, and realistically, you're just going to be running, okay, with no real benefit to your training. Or, sorry, not as much benefit as you could have if you first focused on building that aerobic endurance. So, repeated sprint ability is probably the most football-specific one. It's the one that everyone associates with football training, especially pre-season, but it's also the most tiring and most intense. So, make sure you don't overdo it, okay. There's loads of different ways to do it. Like I said, you can do those shuttles. Agility training is actually a really good way to do it because it's a lot of turns and shuttles in there depending on how you do it. But the way I like to do it as part of that match fitness starter pack, okay, is using again the pitch. You start in one corner, you jog or recovery run across the goal line to the opposite corner. You then sprint to the halfway line, recovery run again to the corner in front of you, turn, sprint across the goal line, recovery run back to the halfway line, and then sprint to the corner again. And you should be in the same corner you started at, and you've done one full length for the pitch, doing a recovery run, sprint, recovery run, sprint, recovery run, sprint. You've got the full work, you've got the recovery, okay, repeated sprints, active recovery in between, and you've also done a little bit bigger distance just to increase the overall volume. And again, no kit, no measuring, just turn up, get it done, nice and easy. If you're going to do that, rest between 60 to 90 seconds in between your sprints, okay, or your laps, and then aim to do anywhere between sort of 3 to 5, maybe building up depending on your fitness, but start around 3 depending on if your fitness is on the lower level, or you're starting like a pre-season or a back to fitness session. Don't overdo it too quick. This will hit hard straight away, and I know that from experience. But that is your repeated sprint ability. Okay, so there you have 3 key components to your fitness and endurance as a football player and your performance on the pitch. Make sure that when you're training, whether it's pre-season, during the season, coming back for injury, or just you're generally trying to keep fit, make sure that your training is specific. Pick one of those different types of endurance and base your session and your training around that. And you can also do, a session each week based on each one, or if you're progressively building up, focus on one first, then add in the next, and then the next. But the key to improving as a footballer is being more specific in your training with a bigger picture in mind. Because 2 weeks of running isn't going to get you match fit. 4 weeks of a structured plan will do better. Thinking about the season ahead, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, okay, progression through the age groups, okay, and progression through your team, up the leagues, up the levels. That's how you're going to improve as a footballer and continue to grow, rather than just grow, stagnate, okay, and then lose momentum. So I hope you found that useful. Okay, if you want that Match Fit starter pack, look in the description, okay, or the first comment. I'll put a link there for you. It's completely free. Okay, it comes with all the information that I mentioned in this video about aerobic endurance, speed endurance, and repeat sprint ability, how it affects you as a football player. with all the exercises and the workouts I explained, with full instructions and video demos, so that you can improve as a football player, develop your fitness, and see your performance on the pitch improve with better energy and better performance. So again, I hope you found that video useful. Okay, and any questions you have about the video or anything else you want to see on the channel, let me know in the comments below, and I'll add it to the list of videos and answer it as soon as I can. And if you want to see these videos come out sooner so you can improve your fitness and your performance on the pitch as a football player, like this video, okay, and subscribe to the channel, and you'll see them come out quicker and sooner, so you can use it yourself to improve your fitness, improve your performance, and take your game to the next level. Go out there and train hard, but also train smart, and I hope to see you on the next video.